The enemy is capturing our strategic position.
There are literally hundreds of free-to-play first-person shooters on Steam, but there are very few games that actually be able to survive more than a decade-long time, especially on the free-to-play market. So there is one game that's still holding up pretty well in 2024. It's a game called Warface, also known as Warface Clutch. It's actually a game that I used to play a lot back in the day, way before I started this channel, but I don't think I ever talk about this game in our videos. But nevertheless, today we're gonna jump in and take a look at the game and see how the game is holding up, especially in 2024. Alright, despite the game is like 12 years old at this point, if you've never heard about Warface, it's a free-to-play multiplayer kind of arcadey first-person shooter, similar to something like all Call of Duty games with fast-paced movement and fun gunplay. I mean, you have already seen tons of games like this nowadays on Steam, but back in the day, man, there was actually very few options available. I remember playing games like Severium, Black Squad alongside Warface, which actually pretty fun experience. The last time I checked out Warface, probably a few years ago, when they add the Battle Royale update to the game. I remember trying it out and I really didn't like it, and I never go back to play the game again. But nowadays in 2024, the things are a bit different. They changed the IP name to Warface Clutch. Alongside that, it seems like they added bunch of improvements to the game, added new game modes, alongside bunch of new maps and weapons, with all the typical stuff that you see in most free-to-play games like battle passes, cosmetic items, and bunch of other microtransactions. But if you go back and play the game, honestly it feels pretty similar to me. I remember playing all of these maps before with the same game modes, including free-for-all, team deathmatch, plant the bomb, alongside the popular co-op PvE game mode, which was actually pretty fun to play back in the day. It's like more like a linear Call of Duty style campaign where you simply can jump in with 3 of your friends, and along the way you complete different objectives, clear different outposts, and fight against bunch of AI soldiers, and ultimately successfully complete the mission, and as a reward you will get bunch of XP and in-game rewards. But unfortunately, all the progression that I made over the years was completely wiped out after I log in. I don't know the exact reason, but I have to start from the scratch from the level 1 again, which is kind of unfortunate, but ultimately you have to level up and rank up in order to unlock all the different game modes, and also the dedicated rank mode that you can play when you hit level 25. Anyway, when we're talking about the current player numbers of this game, if you go to the Steam charts, you can see currently the game is hovering around 700 daily concurrent players, the average being around 400 for the last 30 days, meaning there is still a very small dedicated player base who's still playing this game every single day, which is great to see. But overall the player numbers is quite low compared to some of the other games on the market, and unfortunately the game is still launching through their terrible My Games launcher. It's always a pain to update your games through this, took insane amount of time, especially with the games like World War 3 in some occasions, and it's basically the same with Warface. When you're logging it for the first time, it only show you like 3 servers that you can select, at least on my case, and I honestly don't know why my ping is so high, at least on the Asian region, which is something never happened in any other games. And also when you log back into the game and you try to jump in for a PvP game mode like team deathmatch, it took like insane amount of time to jump into a game due to very low player numbers. Sometimes it took me like 10 plus minutes to get into a game, and it's heavily dependent on what time you're playing the game. Especially on the night time, there are a lot of people playing, meaning you can jump into games much more quicker. But overall speaking, the matchmaking is honestly not that great in 2024. But somehow when you find a server and when you jump into a game, it's actually pretty fun to play still. You get your typical game modes like free-for-all, team deathmatch, capture the flag, plant the bomb, all those sort of stuff. And it seems to me the little player base who play this game are pretty competitive to each other, and they are like teabagging each other, which I found pretty funny. But overall it's not a bad experience as long as you can jump into a game with a decent queue time. But honestly, over the years they haven't really changed anything regarding the gameplay. It feels like you're basically playing the same game from 2012, and when you're playing the game now in 2024, it feels a bit outdated, especially when it comes to graphics with all CryEngine, and the animations, the gunplay feels really outdated compared to some of the other modern games in the market. And let's say if they want to revive this game in 2024, and I feel like they need a kind of a massive upgrade in terms of game visuals, the gunplay, animation and everything, similar to something that Valve did with Counter-Strike 2. But nevertheless, there is also the dedicated PvE game mode which you can still play to this date. But when you queue up for a game, you basically play the game more like single player now. You rarely find any other players jumping into your game to play co-op, but still very easy to get into, pretty fun to play, kinda like a classic campaign mode. And when we're talking about Warface, microtransaction is always a big discussion, the game being more like pay to win, and you can spend real money in the game to unlock more powerful weapons and attachments that definitely give you advantage when you're playing PvP. So unfortunately that's still being the case in 2024, so if you're jumping in as a beginner, definitely keep that in mind. So finally guys, let's answer the question whether it's worth playing Warface in 2024. So basically my answer is you probably should not, because there are a lot of better options out there on Steam or any other platforms when it comes to free to play first person shooters, especially with the launch of games like Finals, Shatterline, and also a bit of an old games like Ironsight, or even some upcoming games like X-Divine probably give you a much better experience when it comes to both PvP and also PvE co-op experience, overall not being pay to win as well as having better matchmaking. So in my opinion there are a lot of better options out there right now, but Warface is still here, still free to play. There's no harming in downloading and trying it out yourself, but I personally won't go back and play Warface anytime soon, but I'm definitely gonna keep my eye on the game, what's upcoming in the future. Well, that's pretty much it guys. I hope this quick video helpful if you decide to jump into Warface in 2024, and if you ever played the game way back in the day, definitely go ahead and drop a comment down below and share your experience, and also what do you think about the current state of the game in 2024. And finally guys, as always, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to go ahead and drop a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel. I catch you guys soon in my next one. Stay safe.